Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this newest episode of In Need of Attention. I'm your host, Jairus Copeland. I'm here with
Your brother,
my brother,
JB Copeland.
JB Copeland. He doesn't need me to introduce him. He's doing it himself. Before we start, I want to say thank you for being here.
Yeah.
You're an absolute stud.
Thanks, bro.
And you're the person I tell everybody I know that they don't believe. So it's good to see
you. We know each other.
Thank you.
He's not lying.
Exactly. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, bro.
How's the day treating you?
It's awesome. Thanks for having me on, and I'm excited to see what you're doing.
For sure, yeah, really, for sure. You said you just came from a golf course.
Yeah, I'm actually an hour and a half late, so
perfect.
I'm sorry about that.
Confession. Right here.
I messed up. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm an avid golfer.
Yeah.
My cause it a problem. I got down here yesterday. In my head, the people I'm staying with, I'm driving to their house. I'm like, oh, the PGA Tour Frisco, their headquarters is like 15 minutes away. I'm just gonna stop by, get like a shirt. It'll be a cool thing. I pull up having no clue that the LPGA Tour is here. They have like major tournament this week. And so I show up. The guy's like, you cannot pull in here. I'm like, where can I go? Pull off to the side of the park. I'm like, I have a ticket. I found my way around, got in. I'm just like walking around like I belong. And someone stopped me. He's like, hey, where's your credentials? Like, what are you? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the shop. I'm like, oh, okay. And they like escort me to like the place. I'm just walking around. I call my wife. I'm like, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
I'm just vibing around a major championship. And she's just like, I don't care, but don't spend $500.
Sound like my wife.
Yeah, don't spend $500. It'll be okay. So Texas didn't treat me well.
Good.
I'm excited to be here. My main thing I wanted to just say for you is it's been really cool to see all the stuff you've been doing. Seriously, you had your book just come out.
Yes.
Can you tell me what is the book? What's it about? For the person listening, they know you are, unless they live under a rock. What was the kind of like impetus and what you wanted the book to kind of do and be our?
So my goal was to not make it like a book.
Mm.
So a company out of London reached out. It's called Intelligent Change. They have they're a journal company, and really great. They have this journal called the 5-Minute Journal. Sold a ton of copies. It's kind of like what created them,
for sure.
Yeah, sure. And so they've done a lot of cool stuff. But about a year and a half ago, they reached out when I was still getting started, and they said they wanted me to make a journal. Mm-hmm. Thing is I don't journal, and I was like, I can, but not really want to. So we got to talking, and the thought up front was like, hey, I want to make a coffee table book, like a big coffee table book, like Virgil.
Thick.
Yeah, that one's coming. That's why this is called the Rough Draft.
Right.
Yeah. So, man, it's been a really cool process, but really the book has just been something that I would read because I don't like to read. And I probably should read.
Yeah. I've said to multiple people, they're like, oh, okay, like, I can't read. And
yeah.
They read me. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So like something easy. Russ had a book a while back.
Sure.
And I was like, I like that because it felt like I could just read it. So like it's a 45 minute read, quotes. And really we were trying to I was trying to figure out what we were going to call it. And we came up with Sappy Media, which is kind of what like started the whole Sappy thing. It's kind of what I'm going into. Yeah. We're building a bigger brand around it.
For sure.
But kind of what I thought was, and this is, answering your question, but what I thought was, man, my whole life, I grew up in church, we kind of have the same past, but, and I just didn't ever really know how to feel my feelings. I felt like my feelings were wrong. I felt like it was my flesh. It just didn't. Yeah. So I was always at war with myself because I felt a certain way, but the people that I trusted were telling me to feel this way. If you don't have joy, then, you don't have the Lord. If you don't have peace, then,
right.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't mean it like that, but that's how I took it. And kind of what I've realized over the last, few years is that, my feelings, whether they're good or bad, or if there are bad feelings, I don't really know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I think all feelings have a purpose, but they're there for a reason. They're here on purpose. Yeah. And that's what kind of got me started. And I started writing it about a year ago, and I was not in the greatest place last summer, like just going through some stuff.
For sure.
And just really trying to find myself. I was growing online, I was growing, but I was struggling heavily personally.
For sure.
I'm still working through it. And I just felt a lot, and I'd always been one that numbs, and I still do numb. I'm still trying to be better.
Yeah.
Whether it's substances or Netflix or COD.
Dude, I watched Severance with my wife. Have you seen that?
I was like, I want that.
2 episodes in, I had like a existential crisis. I'm like, dude, I sever myself every day. Like, I just call it golf. Like, I got a problem. Like, I'm no better. Like, I had a internal like whole thing. She's like, just watch the show.
Just watch it.
You know, Irving B. Like,
yes. I love Severance.
It's a good show.
I love Severance. It was so funny. I'll get back to what I was saying, but Patricia Arquette, who's Mrs. Cobell. So like, I don't know, maybe a year ago, she followed me, and I was like, Miss Cobell followed me. And I don't know. I thought that was cool because like people might think I have a lot of followers, but in my head, you don't feel that way. I mean, maybe some people do, but I don't. So when like someone like that follows me, I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, bro. So the whole goal of this book was really just to like, just feeling dump, whatever it was I was feeling that day. So it was probably like 90 days of just like kind of feeling where I'm at, you know, and writing about it, whether it was being empty, whether it was feeling, you know, confident, whether it was whatever. So, the reason I say all that is because I was thinking about how in the Bible it says that I'm the vine, you're the branch. And I have a weird relationship with church, and I have somewhat of a weird relationship with Christianity, if I'm being honest with you. And but I believe in God. I believe that there's something bigger. And that verse has always just like spoken to me in a way, and I've always wanted to understand it. Like, I'm the vine, you're the branch. I'm connected to that vine. I'm connected to that root. It's really that root system. Yeah. And I was like, I think I was outside or something, but I saw that this tree had sap, and under the sap was this like cut. It was where the tree had been, you know, bruised or cut open, wounded, and the sap was there healing it. And then I was like, sappy means over feeling. That's what that word means, right? And I don't know who coined that, but that's what it says on Google. But sappy means like, oh, you're so sappy, like you're over emotional, right? And something clicked, like feelings are sent to us. Sap is sent to us from our root system to heal a wound. Wow. And I've been numbing the medicine from the root system for my whole life. Wow. So that's kind of what the book is it's like a exploration on, you know, the direction, and a feeling's not supposed to control you. For sure. A feeling is supposed to point you. For sure. And help you find whatever it is that sap is trying to tell you. Yeah. And so it's medicine. Now, with that being said, the reason I had sappy medium is because there's a medium. Like, on one side
there's a happy middle.
Yeah.
As opposed to
sappy medium.
Extremes.
And I've lived my life between two extremes. One extreme is I don't want to feel any of the sap. I don't want to feel any of the feelings. I'm going to numb that shit. And am I allowed to cuss? Yeah. I'm sorry.
Unless you go crazy.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry. But unless I numb it. Sure. And I've done that a lot of my life. On the other side of things, when I'm not numbing, I swing the pendulum and I overfeel despair. For sure. No hope. Yeah. And so there has to be this middle, this path, the path less traveled, the straight and narrow, that is, you know, you can't let your feelings overtake you, but you have to let your feelings lead you and guide you. And that was big for me. That I feel like that was something that I learned, and I felt like God was showing me, but it was complete opposite of what I learned growing up. Sure. Your feelings lie to you. You don't listen.
Do not. Yeah, you can't trust them.
It's your flesh. Don't listen. And so I'm trying, it's hard to get out of that. So I'd rather, I still have a, you know, problem with numbing, and I find myself going there first. Yeah. But it's just becoming aware of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so part of even, any of the tension, like it's this idea for me and a lot more and less fun words than you used. Living a life with tension,
Yep.
right? It's
Exactly.
idea is this idea of like if you do believe in Jesus and all the stuff, it's like okay, well, um, this is like what he says and what he would do and the like anchor that he is for me, versus then like what you're talking about, like who I am, what I would prefer, what I want, what my desires are, and I have to hold those two things in tension in order to kind of I call it like walk the tightrope of life. And this
Yes.
idea that like if I go fully into my faith this way, I'm just like righteously indignant, judgmental, and truly lonely
Yes.
and unhappy.
Yes.
Versus if I go full this way, there is no hope
Correct.
and it's complete despair and being glued to the floor um,
Yep.
could mean it's permanent,
Yep.
right? And this idea that like I would say that pressure is constant, pain is momentary.
Mm.
In this place, pain is just an abyss,
Yep.
right? And so I have to hold the tension of those two things, right? This idea of like you're literally in tension to be able to move forward and like you're saying, kind of be in the middle. For someone who doesn't like share that purview or have that faith, I always use the example like Spider-Man, like holding the bus or the train or whatever that movie has. And it's like, oh, if I let go of one or the other, it means death to something.
Yes.
Compromise relationship, how I feel, what I'm doing, my morals, numbing, whatever it may be. There's a capital D, lower D death that's going to happen in my life. And how do I kind of manage that? And I was telling you, I was like creeping on all the podcasts you've done and stuff. And I'm really impressed with your ability to reframe questions. Whether it's a good question, a question you don't want to answer, you actually have a different answer for something. You'll take someone's question, answer it, but then give them like so much more in another way. And as I've seen that, it's been really interesting because I think it kind of mirrors what you're talking about, right? Like it's not just, oh, like I have these experiences and they define me. It's, oh, I had these experiences and they actually refined me, and here's what that is.
Yeah. Nothing is black and white.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people and we were taught black and white. We were taught simple, but everything's layered.
Yeah.
And everything is gray. And I think that's the middle too.
Yeah.
Is that sappy medium or that tension, it's very gray. It's layered. And I think, people will ask me questions and I'm like, that's a really good question. Or like I can't answer it without
Giving you the
the layers.
context.
Yes.
For sure. You talked about I'm trying to in real time process because you're saying things I'm like I've said the exact same thing. And I know you are very intentional, not just about how you show up, but where you show up, how much you're saying.
I try to be.
You try to be. You achieve it.
Yeah.
You do. You really do. I was like, I can't wear a cardigan because he might wear one. Okay, I can't wear a hat. He's gonna wear one. When you think about that intentionality and that expression, all the way from here's how I'm presenting myself and saying this to the masses, to hey, here's what's going on in my life, and I'm just trying to figure this thing out. What intention do you find yourself like leading with or driving with right now?
Oh, that's a really good question. With everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to over talk over you and everything. You got all the followers. Someone would see that and go, "Oh, you've made it. You should feel whatever. You should feel this." But it might not mean that to you. It means something different.
I thought it would.
Yeah,
I thought it would mean something.
Yeah.
I thought it would feel different. I thought once I would hit. But yeah, as time has gone, I think for a while, and this is me giving you layers, but I think for a while, the goal was get to this. Like you're driven by the eyes, you're driven by the DMs, you're driven by, what people say. And it's never enough.
Right.
It's never enough. Ever. And I would say, even like I said last summer, like I hit it, 1 million followers last July, and like, dude, like from last summer till, even till now, like I've been dealing with a lot of just insecurity,
For sure.
doubt, with a feeling like I've, guilt,
Sure.
shame, and like, I would say my intention now is I just want to be happy.
As simple as that.
Yeah. I just want to be happy. I want to be where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I want my parents to be proud of me. I want my dad to be proud of me. I want my wife to be proud of me. I want to be proud of me.
Right.
And for a long time, it was more in a people pleasy way
For sure.
of if I do this, they'll think,
Right.
and it just doesn't work. And so the intention can't be that. The intention can't be, this isn't a performance. And what I do, what this is like, I have to, whatever it is that I do, I have to feel good about me,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's me being honest,
For sure.
even with, it's been 2 years and a lot of people at this stage of the game are, releasing courses or their workbooks or communities.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
And I can't. And it's this thing in me. It's just like, I'm not saying that I never will.
Sure.
I don't think I will.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do something different, but
For sure.
like it has to be, if it's not me, then to me, it's not good.
Yeah.
So the intention is I have to be me.
Yeah. For sure. You talk about that. The model is by now, get some deals, work some stuff, do some events, book a tour, pods, whole rollout. For you though, you're going like, I just physically can't bring myself to do stuff that doesn't feel like it aligns with who I am and what I am. I think my question then is like, what do you call yourself right now? Like someone could look at you and say, oh, you're a content creator. You're this, you're that. What do you like call yourself?
I haven't figured it out yet.
Mm.
So that goes along with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you're picking at what I'm putting down is there's so many, before all this, I was a youth pastor,
Right.
and there's a path, and it's from youth pastor to young adult pastor to campus pastor or plant to church. I want to be like Rich Wilkerson, which I love those guys, amazing. I want to be like Tim Ross. I want to go speak at conferences. Like a year ago, or maybe, I don't know how long ago it was, 2 years ago, when I saw you at VU, like, yeah, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted, so asking to be on your podcast. And like, I want to, because that was the route that had been paved.
Right.
And then that was July. And then in December, I started just feeling like I'm walking down a path that's not mine. And the reason I know it's not mine is because it's already been paved.
Right.
And you have to evolve. So what I would call myself, man, like this is the hardest part, is because I don't know. I don't know what I call myself.
Yeah.
Because maybe I'll know
For sure.
in hindsight.
I mean, same dude. I'm on this keep right now saying I don't know. And that
Yeah.
being kind of like a mantra for me right now. And I've been writing a lot. So the only thing I know how to do is write and find a way to talk about it. But just about like this idea of like certainty versus curiosity. I did an episode on it and kind of just talked about like a certain person, there's one answer, has to be right, has to have this, and just how it's a lot of times a limited existence, right? It's like being in math class and it's like, oh, you got the right answer, but you showed the work wrong. So you made a mistake. And so everything, the stakes are just like life and death. Versus like being curious, it's more like, oh, the stakes are lower, which means I can actually make mistakes. And this idea of like, okay, well, to your point, I'm like, oh, well, this is the path. This is the way, right? And you're just
Who
like,
told you that's the way?
exactly. And you're just like, but I feel so limiting. Not in a way of it's not good or those aren't amazing opportunities, but it doesn't feel like it sits well with kind of who I am and that sort of thing. And I, from afar, I feel like I've been able to see and notice like the intentionality you put in things, also the consistency, right? Every week, the 4 or 5 videos that it is, those sorts of things. And that it's just different in terms of how you go about it. And as I've just been going through it, I talk to my wife, talk to other people. We have all these expectations of kind of what I should be doing, shouldn't be doing, going down this road and trying to start a podcast and do this stuff. And everyone has an answer. And I'm just going like, I don't know, but what an opportunity that is.
Oh yeah.
It creates so many infinite solutions.
Yeah. I love what you're saying. A certain person and people might not like this, that are certain, but a certain person is a person that has no faith.
For sure.
And the reason is because certainty and wanting the answers is the exact opposite. And it's funny because the people that I thought had the most faith actually didn't.
Right.
Close people to me that like I wanted to be like. And they have to have these answers because they don't want there to be a chance that they're going to have to wait. They don't want there to be a chance that they're going to have faith
For
and
sure.
hope and
For sure.
for things to fall into place the way that God intended. Faith can only be faith in the midst of doubt
Right.
and uncertainty.
I mean, yeah, being human is being uncertain.
Correct.
And to be certain, it's like, oh, like,
Yeah, there is no certainty.
yeah, it's just like,
You can think there is.
what you're saying is you'd rather just be anxious because it's a necessary evil to not having an answer. I can control an outcome, the situation, all the things. So I can at least feel that way. Is to actually feel sappy, to heal all the things that I'm feeling and those sorts of things is way too scary.
It is scary.
Of a prospect.
But maybe that's the call.
Sure.
And so that's what I've had to get used to as I've gone and on my own path and on my own story is like, maybe I call myself a pioneer, but I'm not pioneering for others. I'm pioneering for me.
Yourself.
Yeah. Not that I don't want anyone to follow what I'm doing. I think that's cool. I think that's a compliment, but I want to inspire, but I want them to find their path too.
Yeah.
And like kind of what you said is like, I would rather sit in the anxiousness. I mean, I wouldn't,
Yeah.
but you kind of have to.
I mean, you've learned the only way is through.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like people jump to what's the job going to be? I need a 9 to 5. I need this answer. I need to know which brand I need to know how much money I want to make this year. I need to know whatever it is that gives you some type of relief inside. And all humans want is relief.
Yeah.
We want to be relieved. And that's not a bad thing. But how are you relieving yourself?
For sure.
And a lot of the times the way that we relieve ourselves kills a calling.
For sure.
Kills an adventure. Kills, it's this wilderness in front of us and we say, nah, like I need to know. I need to be certain. I need to know that this is going to work out. I need to know that, whatever it is. And you have to make a choice to say that this looks good over here, but this feels right this way, even though I seem like a crazy person. For sure. I seem like a crazy person for me to even like want to go down this route. Like, why are you not taking brand deals? Or why are you not, you could be making hundreds of thousands. I get it all the time.
Right.
Like people that are close to me, I'm just like, you don't understand. It's not that I don't want to do that. It's just, I have to stay true. You just stay true.
Yeah.
And in staying true, sometimes that means you are labeled, maybe dumb, or maybe you're labeled, not a good businessman,
right?
Or maybe
difficult,
whatever.
Yeah, all the time.
And that's been hard because culture says certainty, but something in me is saying, stay in that uncertainty. And I've seen it. I begin to see it pay off because it was a really hard. That's why I was going through such a hard time last year and all these things is because like I knew what I had to do, which meant I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
What I knew to do was to, go get a job or go take these brand deals or go start a course or just whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is. But what I knew I had to do was something I didn't know how to do or I didn't know how to go about it. And it puts you in a very helpless place, that anxiety, that worry, because you know that you're not supposed to be certain, and you know that you're not supposed to take the silver when you know that there's gold. But you don't know how to get to the gold.
Yeah.
And so it's a waiting game. It's a game of patience. It's a game of trusting in something bigger. It's a game of, slowing down and taking it step by step and trusting in something bigger than you and having faith in the moments where, you have a really cool opportunity pop up, but it doesn't feel right. Um,
Yeah.
and so I began to live my life like that, I would say last summer.
Yeah.
And it was tough to do. It felt like I was coming off drugs.
Yeah.
Felt like it was I was addicted to certainty.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how people see me from outside.
Sure.
But what I do know is that I stayed true. And it's been a year, and like hard year, because I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But like I said, like that uncertainty then calls on faith, and that faith turns into trust, and it makes it easier for you to listen to what's going on inside of you.
Yeah.
It's I like the saying, don't do what looks good, do what feels good. And sometimes you have to train yourself to make uncertainty feel good.
Yeah. Sure.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I know it makes sense because you had to ask that at the end.
Yeah.
I find myself lots of time talking to people. I'm like, does that hold any water at all? And they're like,
am I just saying
I'm
stuff?
tracking it. Yeah, for sure. You're in an interesting spot, dude, because you're talking about the other side of what everyone can see. And you're in a spot where your words, like as you speak them, but also now written, like mean something to people. Like I'm sure you've gotten messages or you see stuff with like people saying like, hey man, like this really like helped me. This changed me. This is completely shifted like the kind of paradigm I might have or something. How have you, as you've worked through those like struggles and stuff, computed what your voice means to other people?
I haven't computed it. I wish I could, but and I think that might be something that I need to work on.
Sure. So where does that leave you then, as you're sorting through it all?
I think it leaves me with the realization that maybe like I'm having a hard time accepting nice things. Sure. I'm having a hard time accepting love. Not that I'm not trying to. I want it to feel good. I want to know how that feels. I want to be able to put myself in their shoes and to know that my words mean something. But like, sometimes, like you said earlier, and it wasn't on the podcast, but like I feel like a fraud sometimes. Truly. Yeah. And like, if people knew the things I think and the things that I've done, right, and the things that I still struggle with, would they listen? Right. And but I'm not scared to be honest about it. So yeah, I mean, I still deal with, I'll just be honest with you. So last summer, this is kind of where everything kind of like broke down. But I'm glad it happened in hindsight. But last summer I started having panic attacks again, and I had panic attacks for, I don't know, right before I went to rehab back in like 2022. Yeah, and I didn't sleep for like a week. Wow. And like insomnia, like just, and I was like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? And so I obviously needed something to help me. And so my drug of choice in college was Xanax. And Xanax is the drug to help you go to sleep when you have panic attacks. Yeah. And I went to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and they prescribed me Xanax back in August. And I took Xanax every night from August to mid-April. Wow. Yeah. And I needed it, I think. Yeah. If I didn't take it, I was having panic attacks, but I tried to get off of it, and I feel like I was going to have a seizure. I feel like I was have for sure. So I had to go to detox at the end of April. Like, go there and like have the people know who I am.
Like, yeah, no, you're telling me.
Are you here to talk to us? Like, nah,
dude.
I'm here to detox Xanax. Yeah, okay. I got the room in the back. Right. Need anything, knock. Yeah. And but it was funny though, because like I just don't care. Like I don't care what. I would rather be honest
Yeah,
and real.
for sure.
Like I've dealt with panic. I'm doing better. Like I'm doing a lot better. But like
Good.
getting off of that chemical kind of messes with you.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I'm doing good. I'm doing a lot better. But like
Yeah.
those type of things, and then the things that I'm saying and the things that I'm preaching,
Yeah.
I want people to feel good about themselves. I want,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
but I also have to like make sure that
Right.
I'm feeling good about
For
myself.
sure.
But if I'm just honest, that honesty kind of cancels that out, because it's like I'm not trying to tell you that I have it all together,
100%.
because I don't.
Right.
I don't. And I'm trying to figure out life in my struggles and the things that I've gone through the same way that people are. And so when people say, your words mean so much to me, maybe they mean so much because I'm with you. That's what I'd hope is I'm going through life with you, and I'm not better than you.
Right.
It's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so maybe one day, but right now it's just like I'm figuring this shit out too, man. Like I'm literally the same things that you feel, that anxiety, those worries, that insecurity, the doubts.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it too.
For sure.
And so I think it's not about not feeling that. It's about staying true through it.
Right.
Even if you're struggling, it's still, I'm trying to speak life, and even if the words don't match the actions or the feelings. And so yeah, that was a long answer.
Well, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't have the experience with Xanax in that way, but I mean, my drugs of choice have been corn and
Yeah.
I was telling you before we started recording, I had a weed dependency, alcohol problem, and I started taking ADHD medicine since I left my first job, just because I was like, I can't focus, whatever.
I love that crack, bro. It makes you feel good.
I'm right now. So I stopped taking it though for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Because the side effects, I'm just like, dude, I'm like, okay, I'm drinking so much water. I'm sweating like a just disgusting person. Like, crop me out of the photo at the arm because it's just gross. Like,
yes.
And
I've taken my fair share of Adderall.
For sure. So. And it's like, I'm at a place there where it's like, man, like, I don't know. Especially me, I'm super like artsy. I'm just like, oh, you just don't understand. Like, this means something to people. And they're just like, okay, dude, like, whatever. And I'm like, you don't see it. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, I don't want to be on it because I feel like I lose that like wonder for the creative stuff. But I actually get shit done. Take it.
Oh, to be sober, bro.
Oh my goodness. And so I had a panic attack before I came here.
Really?
That would have been, I flew in here Thursday morning, Wednesday night. Like physical, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And my wife is like, I'm comfortable. Like, are you okay? I'm just like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean? Like, I'm filming this stuff.
Yeah.
I just did what I think is the best. This is great material. I'm like a jaded comic. I'm like, this is true comic. Like, I'm like, this is my best material I'm putting out. But it doesn't compare to like this episode I've done or who's watching, who cares. Like, I'm gonna go down here and waste this guy's time. I'm trying to start these businesses nobody knows about. Like, why does this like matter? And I didn't come out with an answer of like, well, it matters because it's a good thing and you're helping people. It's like, came out of it going like, it just matters because it matters to me.
Exactly.
And as I'm going through this and figuring it out, if all this does is give me a journal to vlog and my kid one day is gonna be like, you're insane, great. They saw me go through so many like chapters and struggles and thought processes, kind of just working through things in my head to try to figure out like, what does it look like to live this life and be semi-sane, semi-productive, fulfilled, if you will. And I appreciate you being honest, because it means something. That does mean something.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, bro. I know how you feel. Like, I know exactly how you feel. When you get into it, and I think a lot of people are into it, they're trying to figure things out. They're doing what they feel like they should be doing. They're trying to be consistent. They're showing up like they said they would. And that excitement and that call to do it kind of wears off. Like, you felt a different way when you started. You probably felt a different way
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Right.
And when I first started, like, you get excited. You're like, and you have, you know, you're optimistic, and you're also a little bit worried, and what are people going to say? And but as you start going, and as you start seeing, the responses, the comparison starts to get in there, and the motivations start to change. And this isn't just with this is
Right.
anything in life.
Anything in life.
And it's a battle. It's a battle to, I don't know, be pure
For sure.
in who you are,
For sure.
because things start, fire arrows are shooting into your circle. And man, I'm still trying to figure out how to be fulfilled, like you're saying.
Yeah.
There's fulfilling days.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had the answer. I don't yet. I don't have the answer of how to be fulfilled. I mean, I could get into like Huberman talk, but like, I mean, like routine. Like I'm trying to like figure out like what am I gonna do? And then half the time I don't even feel like doing it.
Right.
And I don't do it. But like, and so I'm trying to figure out like what's the thing that's gonna make me feel fulfilled? And man, I wish there's probably like I could probably spit out like 5 different answers that I think it could be.
For sure.
But I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So if I figure it out, bottle it.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll let you know.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, and I think you're the same way. It's like I don't want to be so doom and gloom. Like,
right.
I'm gonna feel this way sometimes, as I'm gonna feel this way sometimes, and there's seasons of life,
right?
And it's okay that I feel this way, but like I'm not gonna stay stuck in this.
Yeah, for sure.
That feeling that you feel, that comparison, that worry, that does this mean anything? The answer is yes, it does mean something. And you kind of zoom out and you see how small you are, and you see how big the world is, and you see, and it's you've been taught your whole life, you play football, you're staying with me, it's like go D1, go to the NFL, you see the commercials, you see them playing on the, and they're not fulfilled either,
for sure.
And so we've been kind of taught that if you go this route and you create these things, and the outcome, and you put in the work, and
for sure, absolutely,
you're gonna feel good.
Yeah.
And that's not the secret sauce.
No,
it's not. And I think anyone that no one knows for sure what it is. Something different things work for different people,
sure.
But I think where true fulfillment comes from, if the only reason I know this is because I've tried every way else.
Yeah.
And I'm still, it's hard to do the thing that you're really supposed to do, even though it's probably like the easiest thing.
Right.
It's just releasing the pressure that you have towards yourself.
For sure.
And I don't know how to do I don't know how to do that.
Right.
But we are our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
It's like a civil war up here.
100%.
And it's like, how do I get me on my side? Because maybe I'm not here for a purpose, but I know I'm here to find fulfillment.
Yeah.
So if I could just take away the purpose and this mission and this thing that I'm supposed to be doing on this earth, and I can just find fulfillment, maybe that purpose will just happen.
Yeah.
And it won't be the motivation. The motivation needs to be, how can I don't know, like find happiness and find fulfillment. And it's really hard. A lot of people, we were brought up and culture, the way that you find fulfillment is the exact opposite of what we were taught.
Yeah.
And so it's just hard to find those things and put them together and figure out what that ingredient and what that mixture is for you in your life. And so we're probably a lot the same, but for me, when I'm working out, I feel better. You know, when I have routine, when I'm getting up in the morning, and I know these are like stupid things to say, but like, you know,
they matter in terms
Yeah.
of the way you're feeling and your mindset.
yeah, when I'm honest, you know, when I'm kind, you know, when I'm, I don't know, when I'm stern, I stand up for things that matter. Like it's like this reward system in our brain, and like that's like the scientific side of it, but like, and then there's like the religious side of it, and
For sure.
and it's, you've heard so many things of how this is how, and I could even say like I followed my gut the last year, I feel better. But as you're following your gut, what happens is like you're in a bit of survival mode too. And so like these walls and these calluses are built to try and push through. It's like a really hard time.
Yeah.
And you get out of it, and it's a season to thrive, and you're still living like you're surviving.
Yeah.
And so it just goes really deep. I don't want to make people feel hopeless about it, because that's not
bummer guy.
yeah, that's not the goal with this. Yeah, but like what I'm saying is like there's complexity to it.
Yeah.
And I think that complexity can be figured out, but it comes with a lot of awareness and a lot of, you know, reflection and a lot of, you know, quiet.
Yeah.
And I think the way to find fulfillment, and I've heard this and it's funny because I won't do it. I won't do it. But it's just like, don't do anything. No. Don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're not doing anything, listen.
Yeah.
And maybe something will say something to you that you need to hear, and just don't do anything.
Yeah. There's so many ways I want to take this, but
however,
you I'm never gonna stay here for a second.
Okay, go for it.
You and I had a lot in common. You mentioned being athletes. Our dads were football coaches. We've been through varying degrees and battles, both mental and behavioral. But one thing that it's obvious in a lot of the stuff you do and create is just how much stuff that like hard work you had to do to get to the point where you can even like vocalize these things and stuff. And you're hitting up against something that I feel like I'm going through right now. Is understanding like I played high school football, and people that know me are gonna laugh because they know that at the end of the day it wasn't gonna happen. I had no other plan.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have.
Same.
I went to a community college after that. I was out by 19. I'm like, I'm gonna make movies. Quick pivot. Now I'm in church. 5 years later, I'm like, okay, I actually want to do what I like love and what I'm good at and all this stuff. And you work through the resentment of that and the role you play in that. And then there's still at times like this anger you have. Like I was sold something that just wasn't true. And that pisses me off.
Yeah.
And then there's another layer of, oh, well, you're like a man. Figure it out.
Yeah.
How have you experienced and dealt with that type of anger? And does what it means to be like a man now impact that at all?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, definitely a lot of anger at first, but before I knew what it was, I think this will connect with people, like what you're saying and like what this podcast is about, because people get on podcasts to listen because they want certainty.
Yes. Answers, practicals.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that. And I understand it makes people feel better. And it's just like listening to a sermon. It's just like listening to anything that, you know, you're trying to feed your soul. They're looking for fulfillment. They're looking for relief. And that's what I'm saying. In looking for that, you know, people serve us up scripts. They serve us up plans that in the end we do it. And maybe it works, and maybe it works maybe it works permanently. It's not works for me.
Great, yeah.
But and you're left where you were before you started listening.
Yeah.
And so within that, like being a man and even being a human, I feel like I lost my train of thought. So I'll cut this though. It's okay. Let me just think about it.
We haven't cut anything.
Yeah. Okay, good. But in being a human, God, this is like, I feel like we're hitting on like deeper stuff, and maybe it's not. Maybe this is so surface level.
Yeah,
But
we're just like,
they're like,
so,
get it out.
we're so heady. Right
Yeah,
now.
I know, maybe, but the reason that we have these resentments is because we're being lied to from people that have been lied to.
Yeah.
And sometimes lies feel like truth. And sometimes it's easier to just believe a lie and to numb out
Yeah.
the actual calling and the actual feelings that you're having towards this life
Yeah.
and call it the truth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people I know, the people that I looked up to the most, bro, are like that.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how, and it's like, maybe I should just believe a lie.
Yeah.
Because you look kind of fulfilled.
For sure.
Or maybe you're not being honest with me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too honest.
Right.
And so it leaves a person confused. And that confusion leads to making you think that you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, these people look like they got it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not good enough to do what they're telling me to do. I keep on messing up. Or I feel like this isn't connecting.
Yeah. I was writing literally this week for a pod. I'm gonna record a release, but I keep saying it on a podcast, so I'm already talking about it.
Yeah.
I was writing on this idea because me and my wife are talking about having kids.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it yet, but like I also think it's hilarious. You probably get this when people are like, "Oh, when are you gonna have kids?" Or your friends are like, "Oh, we're trying." I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks for telling me you're having unprotected sex.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, yes, sir, I'm having unprotected sex with your daughter. Absolutely, for sure. All the way.
Yeah.
I'm so awkward. Yeah.
No, it's so good. I love
Oh
it.
my gosh, I hate that. But I'm just going like, okay, like being reflective. I'm like, am I the man to be the father I want to be? I always want to be a dad, but like, what does actually like me? I want to be a dad. And as I've looked at myself, I'm like, well, how do I mold myself to become the person I want to be? I just started thinking about what I've done in the past, the people I've seen, and you're hitting the nail right on the head. Like, oh, I liken it to like makeup. Like some people wear makeup to cover things up, hide it so you can't see it. Oh, this is what I look like. This is what my life is like. Some people wear makeup that like accentuates. Look at the good things. Look at all I can do. Look at this. Wow, they have it all together. And then some people just make things up. Like it literally just like in their head will recount things differently. They said it differently. I heard it differently. So that literally in their brain, they can rationalize their behavior, their life, their mind to be able to just live and move forward.
Yes.
Instead of actually face like, no, you actually did that. Like, you actually said that. Like,
they're dissociated.
100%. And they have no like real like regulation.
Got a dissociate's degree.
Hilarious and a better degree than what I had. So that's hilarious. That's so funny. I want to wrap this up. Don't be respectful of time and everything like that.
I'm good to go longer if you want.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Till she knocks on the door.
Yeah. Okay, let's go, bro.
You're saying a lot of things that I can relate to.
Yeah.
Saying a lot of things that I think are helpful to people, whether they think we're just full of shit or not. Right. My dad listened to my podcast. He's like, I don't fully understand it. I don't think it's for me, but you're doing. I'm like, thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. I had to hear that.
Yeah.
I'll question it later.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think it's something for people like this. These are the thoughts they're having to not having the conversation. And I'm, venturing into a world, if not the same, very similar to what you're having success in, that sort of stuff. Like you said, you went from walking a paved path, trying to redefine and find a way to make a way that more kind of closely aligns to who you are. If you know, which I'm sure you're going to say you don't, what do you want? What do you want to do? What feels like something that, as you're listening to yourself, feels more true to who you are?
Oh, dude. God. This is why I think that I'm crazy. This is why
Perfect.
And this is why I think I'm crazy.
Because this will be the clip.
Yeah.
Not here.
This is why I think I'm crazy. What I want is to be a person and be a human, like at the end of my life, that went for it.
Yeah.
I might have made a billion mistakes, which I already have. I made a billion mistakes. and I'm going to make $1 billion more. But I want to try.
Yeah.
I want to try to figure out what it is that will make me feel good. And maybe that's a selfish thing to say, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Because I think everyone's after wanting to feel good, but I want to feel purely like good. And I think the way that you do that is by sticking to it. And we've said so many things in this, and I want to make sure people know that, like, I'm not a soy boy, and neither are you. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, life, there's just things that I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's questions that I have about myself, and there's questions that I have about the world that a lot of people, I'm thinking more people now, like, they won't face and they won't look at in the eye. Because you talk about tension, there's tension and mystery. And so what we're trying to say here is that we have to walk into mystery, because that's where faith lives. That's where destiny lives. That's where my purpose lives.
Right.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable thing. And I can look back over the last 3 years, and I choose to have gratitude, and I should have gratitude because of what God's done and what, has come about. But when you're walking through mystery, a life of mystery, when you're walking through, uncertainty, and you're trying to find the missing puzzle piece, you sometimes just don't feel you don't feel like you're on the right path. You don't feel like and I have to remind myself daily, like, there's a quote by David White, and he says, feeling lost? Good. You're right where you need to be.
Right.
And it's just so countercultural to what people say. I think that's why we have a hard time putting the words to it, or we have a hard time, figuring this all out, is because where we're supposed to be is lost. And I can bring up the Bible.
Sure.
Abraham, God said, just, pack your stuff up and leave.
Super casual.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's where to go.
Yeah.
Or, Moses, like, yeah, just go to Egypt and just tell him, and then I'll tell you where to go.
Yeah.
And so I've seen these things in life, and I even looking at, that, and it's like, there has to be a life, and there has to be a fulfillment, and there has to be like a purpose to where I'm following that voice. I'm following that voice that's leading me out into to be lost. Not because it's a bad thing, but because it's where I'm supposed to be. And so people are hearing this podcast that we're on, and we're both in the same place. And we're in the middle of the woods, and we don't know which way to go. And the reason that we don't know which way to go is because we're relying on ourselves, but really we're relying on something bigger to lead us. And we've chosen to not walk down a path that everyone else walks down. And so people say these guys don't have any answers. And my thing is, who does? And I think that's what puts me in a hard place with doing what I'm doing, is because everyone wants me to give them an answer. But I'm not the one with answers. I'm not here to give people answers. I'm waiting on my answers. And I think my goal is, I don't want people to suffer,
Right.
but what I do want for them is for them to walk the path that's theirs.
Yeah.
And I've only traveled so far down mine that I don't know what's next. And I'm still feeling a bit uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm still struggling. I've relapsed. I've gone and I've had hard times. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
And maybe you feel the same way, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have it any other way, because one thing I do know, with all the mistakes that I've made, and still, like, I'm dealing with, guilt and shame and all, Like, we're going to deal with it. We're human beings, and it's okay to deal with that. And it's okay to walk yourself through it. But the one thing I can go to sleep at night knowing is that I did it my way.
Yeah.
And on a deeper level, it wasn't my way. It was whoever created me's way. And I hope that this way takes me to a place that I feel like was promised.
Wow.
And so I think that's what life is following a promise. And I know that there's a promise to you. There were clear directions or clear words to you to go this way. And, you talked about being a man and how the way that I've learned to become a man is by being hurt by men.
That's really good. Yeah.
Like, feeling like I'm being betrayed by men I look up to. And so it seems like everything that we're shown and everything that we've learned and the people that are asking us to follow them, they're leading us, to their path, or they're leading us to a path that's not even theirs, someone else's that they learn from. And so if you're cool with that and you want comfort that won't last forever, and you want, like, go for it. And like, there's no judgment here. There's no judgment from me or from you. But if you want to step into mystery and you want to deal with the tension, this is how it's going to feel like sometimes. And so I think a lot of people, the reason why this podcast will hit, and maybe it won't, maybe they're going to be like, this shit sucks.
It's not yours.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
But the reason it will hit is because people feel like this.
Yeah.
And they think me or you feel better. And what I've learned and what I see is that sometimes people just need to be seen where they're at. And sometimes, like, when you're the first in your family to do it, when you're the first out of all your friends to do it, when you're the first out of your town or whatever, it's lonely and you feel crazy.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that I know, but they're doing their thing and I'm happy for them. And what I was raised in, I'm a pastor's kid. That's not my world anymore. And they're doing their thing and they're going to church on the weekends and they're raising their hands and they're, whatever they're doing.
Sure.
And good for them. But I feel like I've chosen to put myself in isolation, and I've chosen to put myself on an island because that's what I felt. And so I think that there's more people out there than we think that have chosen to do the same thing. Maybe they've done it subconsciously, maybe they've done it consciously, but they feel lost. And this is what loss feels like. But what I can say is this, is I'm not going to, even though I don't have all the answers and I don't know what's next, again, I'm lost on purpose, for a purpose. And all I can do, when I said do nothing, just do nothing, what I mean is trust. Trust that there's going to be fulfillment. Trust that you'll be provided for. Trust that the next step you will be led. Trust that, the trees will open up and you'll be able to see. And I have seen that in my life in the last 12 months, whether that's, especially like financially, which is something that's important. But like now I'm trying to learn that emotionally,
right,
and mentally and spiritually. And so I might be leading people wrong.
Sure.
But what I am saying is, I believe, just stay, keep on going, because this is what chasing purpose, and this is what chasing dreams feels like. It's what it feels like. And we have to be mentally and spiritually and emotionally strong enough, and we all have that strength to parent that little boy or that little girl that feels lost.
Yeah.
And a lot of this conversation was those little boys talking.
Literally.
And those boys deserve
To be heard.
to be heard.
And to be accounted for. Yeah.
But there's another half of you. And that half is a trusting half. And that half is a half that, one of my favorite quotes is the reason you want it so bad is because the future you already has it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to tap in to that person.
Yeah, for sure.
The reason we started it. We have to go back. We have to remember. Might be being wordy, but I just have a few things to say on this. But one of the reasons that we get down, and I'm gonna let that adult talk now.
Sweet.
One of the reasons that we feel down is because we have a really bad memory. Humans have bad memories. We forget the good and we remember the bad. I don't know why. It's all of us. I'll talk about the Bible again because this flows with my life. Is when the Israelites were led out of Egypt, they had a bad memory. Did they not forget?
Like, I missed this, and it's like, bro, you were a slave.
Yes. Bad memory.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe this. God was putting manna in front of them. They're being led by a cloud every day.
Literally. Yeah.
Like, he opened the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he sent like crazy plagues on Egypt to get you out.
Yeah.
And our little kid mind easily forgets because a day feels like a year. Like, that's how it was when we were little.
Literally.
And one thing that I don't, and this is why I think being quiet is important, because one thing I don't do enough of is I don't remember, and I don't have enough gratitude for where I'm at. And when I can recenter myself, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever it is, what you're doing is you're taking that fear from that little kid and you're inserting curiosity, because he doesn't feel lost anymore. He feels like he's on an adventure. And only we have the power to do that for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so if you're lost, like me and like you, if you're watching and you're lost, the only thing I can tell you to do is to ignite that person in you that is sure. And everyone has that. Like, we might have a conversation and say, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I have purpose. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Like, I need to sit myself down. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, literally.
I need to sit myself down and I need to remind you what the truth is. I need to remind you what the promise is. I need to remind you the future that you have.
Yeah.
And the reason you feel like shit right now is because you have short-term memory.
Mm-hmm.
Convicted, bro.